It's currently 30 degrees here in London, and as a country that doesn't believe in air conditioning, I thought I'd wear my holiday shirt for you rather than going at it topless. So the other month I was approached by my friends at Baby Flamingo, a social agency here in London. Gemma, their founder, a work friend of mine I've known for 7 years now, said she had a brief in from one of her clients. They were launching a new product and wanted to shoot a taste test, filming in public with real people, capturing real reactions, and she wanted me to direct it and help produce it with her. I thought it'd be interesting to look at the process behind the shoot, as it was a hidden camera, multicam shoot. It's a little out of the ordinary for me. As simple as I outlined in the intro, this was a taste test. They wanted to capture real people and real reactions. The brand we were working with, Huel, had a great product and they really wanted to prove this via authenticity. It was completely open in terms of the wares and how we wanted to approach it, our only real limiting factor being budget and the unknown reactions of the British public. We definitely weren't reinventing the wheel here, but it's still not the easiest thing in the world to orchestrate. Fortunately, back in 2013, I'd been one of 4 camera operators on a hidden camera shoot for a Sackler ad, capturing unaware shoppers reacting to a collection of opera singers breaking into song in a supermarket. So I had a small insight into the pitfalls to look out for. The biggest one being how unpredictably boring the public can be, which I was quick to raise with my co-producer Gemma, suggesting that we bring in stooges or actors to give us some of the reactions we were looking for guaranteed. This simply wasn't an option though, because the good honest people at Huel wanted reactions that were both authentic and honest. Other things I'd learned ahead of time is our shoot day would have to be somewhat open-ended, within reason. We wouldn't be able to be too precise with our scheduling as we were relying on unknown interaction from the public. After narrowing down a location option that was both in our budget and with a heavy enough footfall of people passing by on a weekday, a week or so before the shoot, Gemma and I headed down for a recce. I asked questions about PowerPoints, prospective camera positions we might be able to use, who our point of contacts would be on the day, where the loos were, and how we would gain access to the container we were storing our kit in and using as one of our camera positions. Producer hat still on, I set about booking the kit we would need, within our budget constraints of course. We crewed up a second camera operator, a sound op, a COVID officer, who would also be up for getting their hands dirty elsewhere on location on the day, helping with getting release forms signed off and drumming out participants, and a runner. Sound was a big consideration for this one. It's definitely not easy to do this well whilst keeping it unseen on the side of a somewhat busy road in East London. I had a chat with our sound op ahead of shooting, sharing a floor plan of sorts, as well as what we had to work with in terms of hiding any mics. I suggested that we use one of the on-site gazebos available to us to aid in hiding any mics for the public, as well as protecting our talent. The friendly Tim from Huel, and of course the product from any unknown British elements we may or may not have to battle with on the day. Gemma and I went back and forth over props, crew, insurance and schedule. Finally, before the shoot day, I put together a call sheet, printed off a ton of release forms and signs to put up around the area to alert the public of our filming. The day started off a little rocky. I got there 20 minutes early, always better early than late. We had been hoping to capture some of the morning commuter foot traffic out of the station behind the site, but due to some unseen logistical hold-ups, by the time we were set up and ready to shoot, we'd missed this window. For the camera positions, I wanted to get a bit more creative and crafty with how we'd hide them, but budget didn't allow for set builds and pram cams. Fortunately for us, that didn't seem to matter all that much though. Being on longer lenses, that bit of distance away was enough to not gain attention from the participants. The crew was all on walkie-talkies with earpieces, so they could still use their hands. This allowed me to communicate with the other camera op and sound operator as to when and when not to roll, as well as with the crew on the street as to who needed to be grabbed for a release form, or can someone please ask that big white truck that just pulled up in front of the stall to park somewhere else? That sort of thing. The biggest unknown up front was how would people react to the product, which was a little unnerving. But then again, there was nothing we could do about it if they really wanted real reactions. Fortunately for the brand, Huel, and I can since testify to this, it is a really good product and way better than any other protein shake I've tasted. So with a very few minor exceptions, the reactions were overwhelmingly positive, which really was a dream. Ultimately, this shoot was about the content, not about the quality of how we shot it. Budget constraints and unknowns were never going to allow for anything too premium. But that being said, anything too premium for something like this would have probably made it feel less genuine. I was encouraging crash zooms and camera movement from our fixed positions, but a couple of oversights on the shoot from myself could have made for a bit of a better outcome. It was the first day of real sun we'd had in the UK this year. When I'd recce'd it, it had been consistently grey and miserable, and the only thing that was on my mind was I really hope it doesn't rain. Perhaps this is the trade-off on wearing so many hats on a project like this. Producer and director Scott was all over it for the most part, but cinematographer Scott didn't even think for a second about the chance of overwhelmingly bright sunshine reflecting off the green astroturf onto the subjects' faces from below, as well as the horrendous ratio difference in light from under our gazebo to out on the street. To expose correctly for the subjects, the street had to be blown out. Disaster. But then again, budget. We definitely need that gazebo to hide the mics and to protect the product and talent from overheating. There was no possible direction to shoot in that wouldn't have been towards brightly lit up buildings and traffic, short of having a purpose-built out-of-budget set or different out-of-budget location. I'm not sure what cinematographer Scott would have suggested even if I was just playing that one role. You won't be surprised to know I was also on board for the edit. It was a lot more time consuming than I was expecting. A lot of rushes to go through, yes, and I never seemed to have much luck with syncing cameras and sound to timecode. It was okay for the most part, but there was a lot of time taken up by organisation on the first day of the edit. Then it was just a case of finding my favourite one-liners and constructing the narrative. There was a variety of different deliverables for different platforms and respectively in different ratios. I worked on the hero edit first, and once that was signed off, so I knew what pitfalls to look out for moving forward, I then moved on to the secondary deliverables and versioning. 16:9, 9x16, 1x1, you know the drill. The client was happy, Baby Flamingo was happy, and I think even I was happy. Not one for the cinematography reel, but it was never going to be. The final cuts were short, snappy and engaging whilst getting across the message, this protein shake is better than that one. Buy it please. And people are buying it, including myself. So well done Huel. I hope you found that somewhat insightful and maybe even a little bit helpful if you're planning your own hidden multi-camera shoot. Give me a like below and make sure to subscribe for more semi-helpful tips and interesting insider industry knowledge.